And hello, my fellow nerds out there. It's Oracle Nerd Richie, and welcome back to Our Life Beginning and Always. Last episode we left off here, and we're gonna be picking different moments, I suppose, that feel right for us. So we're gonna be. So the thing is, we could skip the step right away, but I kind of wanted to take a look at all the moments that apparently me and Cove went through. So we're gonna be starting off with we're gonna be going from left to right. So let's go starting off with shopping. Come back before it gets dark. All right, sport. The familiar voice drifted across the street and drew your attention away from the snail you've been watching inch slowly across the pavement. Cove waited in front of his dad, pushing his green hair back off his face from where the breeze was blowing it over his glasses. He looked to be paying only a mild amount of attention as he was being handed a few slips of green paper. It reminded you of when you'd first met Mr. Hayden, although he's probably not paying Cove to be friends with himself. Cove's dad seemed to feel your gaze somehow, or maybe you made a noise because a second later his eyes were on you. He waved you over with a smile. He looked happy to see you, but you still felt a little weird for getting caught. You've got to learn how to be more sneaky. You brushed your hands together to free them of the sand, then jogged over to join the two, smiling at Cove first and then his dad. In turn, Cove shuffled his feet in place as he got closer. Richie, hi.
How's it going?
Oh, he was gonna say hi. I didn't know that was a thing that they could do. Good to see you again. What excitement are you up to today, Richie? Taking a walk. I found a pretty cool snail across the road. There's lots of snails around here. Mr. Holden grinned at you kindly. After you finished answering the question, Mr. Holden's attention returned to Cove, who was preoccupied with folding the bills he had into a tiny rectangle. Sounds fun. You know, Cove was about to hit the stores by the beach. Why don't you go join him?
Yeah.
You can come. You immediately grinned at the idea, and you hadn't been sure if you'd see Cove today, and now he was inviting you somewhere. This day couldn't get much better. Great, I'm sure you guys will have loads of fun. Mr. Holden reached into his pocket and pulled out a leather wallet filled with money. You found it odd since your mom's only ever seemed to have cards in theirs. Here. He leaned in to pass a crisp 10 to Cove, giving him a wink and a whisper. Get something for your friend too. Sure.
Good kid.
That's my boy. Cove's dad ruffled his son's hair as he was straightened back up, the bill in his hand still held out towards the green-haired boy. Take care. Cove accepted the bill after a second and slipped it into his pocket. Then, with one last nod to his dad, he turned and started walking away. You followed after him, intrigued at all the possibilities this outing might bring. Cove strayed towards the gentle tide creeping up in the sand, and you fell into place beside him. It was a nice day, and the sun was shining, and there were many clouds in the sky, though the wind coming off the ocean kept it from being too hot. You took a deep breath, enjoying the scent of the salt and ocean air. When you looked at Cove, he was dragging his feet through the sand a little, and you slowed down to wait for him. His eyes searched the ground intently. You didn't feel like the need to ask why. What is it? Nothing. You're just staring down at the ground, though. You bit down your lip a little, wanting to say something else, but not knowing what. The comforting sound of the waves filled the silence with a pleasant white noise, and you played a little game with yourself as you walked along, getting as close to the water as possible without getting wet. It resulted in you having to run up the sand quickly when we rushed in more than a few times, and although Cove threw a few glances your way, he didn't say a word. What did you want to go to the shops for? You didn't either. What do you usually do on the beach? What did you want to go to the shops for? I need a new sand pail. Yeah? What happened to your old one? Cove narrowed his eyes, seeming to think deeply for a second.
Whoa.
It disappeared. What? Really? Cove ducked his head down, placing his fingers behind his back. It didn't seem like it was going to continue, so you nudged his arm. How did that happen? Well... Cove opened his mouth and shut it again, considering. I took it to the beach one day. Uh-huh. When I got home, it wasn't anywhere. You left it there? Nope, it wasn't at the beach when I went back. Then you lost it. It disappeared.
So...
What about you? What do you do out here? I like to build sandcastles, I like looking at fish, I like swimming. I don't come to the beach a lot. I like to build sandcastles. I think that's a good answer. Last summer, Lizzie and I built one that was as tall as me, and sometimes they have sandcastle building competitions down by the boardwalk. Cool. I bet you could win. You smiled at Cove. Maybe the two of you would build one together one day. Once you reached the shopping area, the noise level grew exponentially. No longer just waves and footsteps, but the chatter of people enjoying the lovely summer day, and the call of birds trying to find bits of food left behind, and lots of salespeople trying to get attention. Okay, hold up. I need to turn down the music a little bit. Yeah, that should be fine. You sniffed the air as you walked beside Cove. You could still smell the ocean, but there was other scents now too. Pizza, pretzels, hot donuts. It's alright, it's not very nice. It's nice. The energy surrounding the area seemed to fill you, and there was a bounce in your step as you began looking at all the familiar sights. There were so many things to do, and you don't know where to begin. You looked at Cove, hoping he was just as excited as you were. Cove was glancing from one side of the street to the other with a look in his aquamarine eyes that you couldn't quite work out. What's that? Cove pointed to a large crowd gathered near a few tables with large colorful umbrellas blooming from their middles. You couldn't see past the adults who were blocking the way, but you knew there must be something worth seeing. Without another word, the two of you hurried over to see what all the commotion was about. Amazing Alexander. Oh god, okay, what kind of voice should I give him? Oh, I know exactly the voice to give him. Feast your eyes on the amazing Alexander. I don't know why I went all Metaton right there. That's usually my voice for Metaton, I'm not gonna lie. In the center of the crowd was a man with a tall hat and a funny green coat that had 3 long tails. There was a table next to him with a cloth hanging over it that read The Amazing Alexander in glittery golden script. Why tell people his name if it's already on a sign? Cove hummed with understanding and then turned to walk away just as the Amazing Alexander began shuffling a deck of cards. Maybe we should stay and watch? Cove glanced back at the man. He then briefly lifted his arms up off his sides before returning them down to place. You grinned, waving for him to follow you as you raced back to stand in the crowd. With that, it began. The magic man pulled one card out of the deck, showing it to curious onlookers. It was a 4 of diamonds. Watch closely. You did, squeezing through the few of the adult onlookers to get a better view. Suddenly, the man snapped his fingers and the card just disappeared. Whoa! The Amazing Alexander, who had earned his title, turned his head and looked directly at you. He reached out with a kind smile. What's this behind your ear? He backed away. Nothing. I'd probably say, tell me? Tell me. You had to be. This had to be going somewhere, and you needed to find out. He smiled like he smelled like popcorn and candy when he stepped closer. It was great. You felt a tug, and then he pulled the four of diamonds out from behind your ear. What? You knew that he couldn't really have come from your ear, but you still didn't get how he done it. There was a late applause from the crowd, and the man gave a deep bow. This is for you. The magician plucked a pair of balloons from a clump of them and tied down to his table. Both were in the shape of a dolphin instead of being normal circle. And one for your friend too. Thank you for being my assistant. Wow. Now you were really grateful he chose you. After that, he went to someone else in the crowd. Pick a card, any card. My uncle does that every time he visits. Not the balloons and the stuff with the cards. Cove spoke plainly while reaching over to take a dolphin balloon that had been designated for him. Maybe it wasn't so special. Cove was just ruining the fun. At least you had a fun time. You wondered if Cove's whole family was magic. You wonder if Cove's whole family is magic. I think that'd be a funny choice. If so, he was lucky. The crowd started to clear some, and you noticed that to his side there was a whole rack of brightly colored kaleidoscopes on display. He picked up a kaleidoscope, a Rubik's Cube, a magic 8-ball, and walked past the toys. Oh, come on! 8-year-old me would definitely have gone for the Rubik's Cube. Mostly because I actually did have a Rubik's Cube when I was a kid, and I always liked solving it. I love puzzles. Like you guys probably know me. I love puzzles in video games or any sort of puzzle in general. So I'd probably go for the Rubik's Cube. Oh, these are cool. Will you hold my balloon while I look at this? Cove nodded, taking your balloon and holding it in the same hand as his own. You could get a good in his own, so you could get a good grip of the cube. He stood next to you and watches as you attempted to match the color of rose. You managed to line up all the green squares on one side of the cube, but there were still 5 more sides to go. Deciding that it was something that you could continue another time, you set the cube back on the rack and took your balloon from Cove, who moved to the other side of the stall. He went under the awning, careful of his own floating dolphin, and you joined him. Did you have places like this in your old town? Are you having fun? I don't really like it here. You said nothing. Did you have places like this in your old town? Cove blinked at you for a moment, and you wondered if you shouldn't have asked. You knew how much he missed that place. Not really. You nodded in understanding, looking over at the stalls nearby. Aww, so cute! While Cove looked at the sand pails, you were drawn to the table with colorful keychains laid out on it. They were sewn in the shape of sea creatures, and there was a plaque that read "Handmade" standing proudly in front. Oh, that's awesome. I love it when things are handmade. There were lots of different types. You saw dolphins, sharks, crabs, turtles. Oh, we actually get to choose which one we want. Honestly, I think I would have picked the shark. Knowing 8-year-old me, probably would have picked the shark. Your hand stopped on the shark, a devious smirk filled with sharp teeth on its face. You weren't supposed to go near sharks in real life, but there was something about this shark that you liked, and the fabric on its back was soft when you picked it up. You were instantly enamored. Checking the price though, your heart fell. $6? You didn't know how much about money, but you thought it was a lot to spend on one thing. You barely had more than a $5 bill in your name. Is that what you want? Huh? Oh, it's $6. I didn't bring any money.
Alright.
It's fine. Really? Really? Are you sure? Hooray, you don't have to. Are you sure? Cove took the keychain from your hands and that was that. He was holding a small yellow bucket for himself too. It's cool. You should get it. You smiled, pleased to have things work out. It was nice of Cove's dad to let Cove buy something for you too. You had to remember to thank him next time you saw him. After Cove paid, the two of you stepped out of the store side by side, your balloon dolphins knocking together and spiraling around in the air. You watched Cove hold up his new pail to his face, examining it thoroughly. Hey, Cove. Yeah? Your dad gives all the money, huh? I really like this keychain, never mind. I think the keychain line is probably the safer thing to say. Thank you. Cove looked over and you held it up so he could see better. I like it too. Cove looked further down the street where different food carts were lined up. He rested his non-cast arm over his stomach, and just as he did, yours let out a light growl. You hadn't eaten since breakfast, and after all this wandering around, you were definitely ready for some lunch. Let's get some food. Yeah. You two wandered around for a short while, looking at all the delicacies that were available. Everything looked delicious, and as the different smells, both sweet and salty, wafted over you, your stomach growled even louder. After passing up hot dogs, snow cones, ice cream, pizza, you both agreed on pretzels. Cove got something sweet and cinnamony, and you got a plain one with cheese, one with sprinkles, one with chocolate, got the same. Honestly, I probably would have picked the same thing as Cove, but... Are pretzels with cheese good? I don't know if they are. I got the same one. You licked your lips hungrily as the vendor handed your pretzel over, ready to take one big bite. Your moms didn't let you eat too much sugar, but this was a special occasion. The little cup of icing looked too delicious to pass on. You found an empty table close enough to the beach that the grit of sand made terrible noises when you dragged the chairs out to sit down. These balloons are gonna make it hard to eat. Cove placed his bucket on the table, and as he stared at his still balled up hand that was wrapped around the string. You opened your mouth to agree before an idea hit you. I know! After carefully placing your pretzel somewhere it wouldn't get sandy, you tugged the balloon dolphin out of Cove's hand and tied it to a delicate bow around his wrist.
Oh.
Cove bounced his arm up and down in place, testing the stability of your knot. After watching his balloon jostle around a bit but remained attached, he smiled, satisfied. Can you do it for me? He repeated the ritual. Cove struggled somewhat with the cast restricting his fingers on one hand and a string already tangled around the other. But the action made you feel strangely happy. You couldn't look him in the eyes.
Okay.
Got it. The two of you spent a moment admiring your handiwork, both hands now free to allow easy munching on your pretzels. You bit into the doughy treat, savoring the taste of your tongue with a smile that looked out over the ocean. After a time, you finished your pretzel. You were done before Cove. It was boring not having anything to do. You pulled on the string of your balloon to bring it down to your level. Then you held the dolphin in your hands, manipulating it to make it look like it was jumping through the air. If you turned to face towards the beach, it almost looks like it was swimming in the waves like a real dolphin. A laugh came from your side. When you glanced back at Cove, he had left the remaining parts of his pretzel on the wrapper, and he was gripping his dolphin too. Oh, wait, we can actually name our little dolphin balloon? That's adorable! Merryweather, Splash, they star in movies. Cherry, she's actually an alien. Sam, they're just a regular dolphin. I'll go with Star, because why not? Their trainers use fish and treats to help them perform tricks. They're the most famous dolphin in the world. You sighed, wishing you could star in a movie with a real-life dolphin. What's yours? Cove considered this question, placing the balloon against his table and resting his free arm across it in contemplation. It's... With a loud pop, the dolphin explodes into ribbons. Oh no. For a second, all Cove did was gape in shock like you. Then his cheeks puffed up, squinting. His eyes and saw tears started to glisten. Richie, You made a joke? You offered to find Alexander? You offered to give Cove your balloon. You didn't say anything. He would be alright. Come on, you know I'm gonna offer my balloon to him. It's a nice gesture. Don't cry. You quickly pulled the knot around your wrist loose and passed your balloon over to Cove. It wasn't the same color, but you hoped Cove would accept it anyway. Here, you can have this one. Cove sniffled, a lone tear running down his cheek. No, I don't want to take yours from you. Then we're sharing. It's your turn to hold it. Really? Yeah, it's okay. Cove accepted the balloon delicately, probably to make sure this one didn't pop like the other. Thanks, Richie. Seeing him like that felt much better than keeping the dolphin for yourself. The passing of Cove's balloon was the last major event of your adventure. In the end, the two of you headed back late that afternoon. You separated at the beach, while Cove went straight home with his brand new sand pail in hand. You decided to sit for a while. You watched the waves in the sunset, filling with your new keychain. Another summer day was drawing to a close. It had been great going around with Cove. You hope to do it again, but next time you wish nothing would happen to make him cry. Aww. Oh, that was adorable. Ooh, okay. Alright, second moment. Grown up. One sweltering summer day, you were in your living room with Cove, listening to the sounds of birds chattering outside the window while you lay across the rug on the floor. Cove's dad had dropped him off earlier, and your moms had left the two of you along with Lizzie to play amongst yourselves. It had been too hot to go outside in the afternoon, at least according to Mommy. So your sister was starting to get impatient waiting for golf class that evening. The three of you had trouble finding something fun to do. The beach and the playground were off limits, and you felt it was too warm for anything like playing with your fuzzy toy animals. Then suddenly, a light came to Lizzie's big brown eyes, and her smile spread across wide on her face. Having an idea gave her a new wave of energy. Since we're stuck inside, we should be adults. I don't play outdoors anyways. They're always inside telling everybody they're too busy to play.
Why? Duh.
I said why. It'll be fun. Duh. What do they do inside that we don't? Besides, I use the phone a lot. Or besides, use the phone a lot. Excluding a small huff, Lizzie decides to ignore Cove.
What do you think?
Richie, what do you think? Do you want to? I don't know. I want to. I bet we can come up with something else. But that's what I'm going to do. And it's not as fun when I play pretend adults by myself. Do you do that a lot? What's it to you? Looking at Lizzie, it seems Cove felt he could understand where she was coming from, and he sighed. Do you really not want to play, Richie? It was clear he wanted some way out, but still felt guilty about it. I'll try, but it sounds boring. Okay, I'll stay. Sorry if I have to do other stuff. You keep hesitating. You kept hesitating. Okay, I'll stay. I hope this is as fun as you're promising it'll be. Lizzie looked at you, deadly serious. It's the most exciting idea I've had all week. Satisfied that neither of you were about to bail on her, Lizzie thought over her options while you watched. After a few seconds, she clapped her hands together and beamed, apparently having settled on something without asking either of you. Okay, I'm gonna be a professional golfer. Richie, you and Cove can be a beach volleyball player, a gymnast, or a tennis player. Why can't we pick anything we want? Because I have a fun idea, that's why. And we have to play sports as adults? Yep! But there's other kinds of sports too.
Right?
It isn't the same. What do you think, Richie? Don't those choices sound super cool? You want to be that, huh? It doesn't. It sounds like a blast. Isn't there anything else we can be? You nodded. Maybe not. Yeah, it sounds like a blast. Your sister lit up with delight. I know, right? Which one do you want? Cove was not impressed with Lizzie's attitude, though he didn't bother talking more about it for now. He thought over the last list of possibilities: beach volleyball, gymnastics, or tennis. Out of all of them, you prefer to play... Honestly, I prefer to play tennis because I actually did play. I didn't play for any teams, but like every time in gym class, in high school, we always there was always a little we sometimes played like on the tennis courts, and it was one of my favorite things to do because it was really fun. Tennis. You remember Mommy had a couple of old tennis rackets lying around somewhere, but you forgot where you had seen them last. You could check the attic for them, although Lizzie probably won't let you run off and do that now that she had you here. Yes, that was clearly the top option. Okay, I'm gonna be a tennis player.
Alright!
How about you, Cove? I'll be a tennis player with Richie. Lizzie threw her hands in the air, making an annoyed sound. You guys can't be the same thing. That's not how it works. You didn't say that. The rule was picking from the list. You can't keep adding more. Lizzie looked at the two of you, then shook her head, resigned to closing this battle, but not the war. Fine, you're both tennis players, but you're on the same team because there's only one. Lizzie's ponytail bobbed when she proudly stretched her arms wide. The Olympic team. What? I'm pretty sure Olympic tennis is a thing. We're Olympic athletes, we just completed the Olympics. Cove didn't seem all that impressed with the announcement. He made a face and adjusted the glasses on his nose. That's really specific.
Rude.
That's what makes it fun. Anyway, Lizzie marched back and forth in front of the both of you, getting lost in her own imagination. I won all the gold medals. People are calling me the next Mickey Wright. Wait, is Mickey Wright a real person? Okay, so I think Lizzie is supposed to be a kid, but I think she's a bit wrong. Mickey Wright is actually an American golfer. Oh, wait, actually, didn't she say she was being a golfer? Wait, let me go back. Oh, wait, no, yeah, she did say golfer. Huh. I guess I just wasn't paying attention. Who's that? Lizzie stopped on the spot and turned on him, her brown eyes shining with impatience. It doesn't matter if you know who she is. It's a golf thing. You guys won medals too. Your team plays silver. That's more real if we're not all first. It's more real if we're not all first place. Silver sucks. I don't want to be silver. I'm okay with that. Hey, we can do better than silver. Silver's not bad. Nice. I'm okay with that. Can't win them all, you know. You shrugged your shoulders, agreeing with Lizzie. A silver medal was still really good in the Olympics. I mean, it kind of is, yeah. I'm not. Cove folded his arms across his chest, apparently not as happy as you were with the decision.
Sorry.
Lots of people lose in the Olympics. Them's the breaks. Then you're the one who did, not me. Lizzie looked taken aback by Cove's declaration, as though the thought of her losing was completely absurd. No way, it wouldn't make sense. I'm already practicing my golf game. She took a golfing stance to make her point, pretending to swing her club and hit an invisible ball. So what kind of house do you want to live in? Cove hadn't changed his mind about winning, but thinking about where he'd live as an adult appealed to him, apparently, because he looked back at Lizzie with some of the anger fading. I'm going to live on the beach. Lizzie made a face at him, poking out her tongue. That's kind of boring. We already have that. No, not like normal houses here with a street on it. On it, right on the sand, by the water. Just like that, all the tension was back. You hadn't even had a chance to choose where you want to live. That's not very fun or smart, Cove. You can't live on a beach of sand and shells. But I want to, and I will. Cove narrowed his eyes at Lizzie, even though she stood half a head taller than him. You didn't give out a list of things to pick from this time, so I'm picking that. Why are we playing pretend if we can't imagine anything?
Jeez.
Well, I'm gonna live in a mansion far away from here, far away from you. One with an indoor pool and a place to practice my award-winning golfing.
It's not fair.
How come you were yelling about mine when your idea is even more impossible? Lizzie's face flushed red, her hands balling into fists at her sides. It is not impossible, and it's better than yours. Disagreements always seemed to crop up when the two of them were together, and you always felt like you were stuck in the middle. Oh, I know how that feels. But when it came to the topic at hand this time, you thought... Being on the beach was cooler, you wanted to agree with Lizzie, Cove was right. You were tired of deciding between either of them. Honestly, this one, the last one here sounds a bit more like me. I'd probably say being on the beach is cooler. I mean, yes, I do live near a beach, like every day. But like living on the beach in a beach house, that'd be amazing. I would love to live in something like that. Like, I mean, though the idea of a mansion really appeals to me because as a kid I've always been a fan of that game Luigi's Mansion. So I've always wanted to kind of have like a mansion of my own, and hopefully one that isn't haunted, you know? But I kind of want to agree with Cove. Who wouldn't want to live on the beach? It'd be really great. You could have windows made from driftwood and seashell wind chimes. Ugh. Somehow you agreeing with him made Cove look nervous. He tried to ignore it by continuing his debate with Lizzie. You can swim whenever you want if you live on the beach. We can still swim anytime we want from where we live now. Being a little closer doesn't mean anything. Says you. The two of them scowled at each other. You're being so unreasonable. You... I don't get what you want. The game doesn't make sense.
Ugh.
It does. You have to be realistic. I said that. But you're not. You had no idea what to do to make them stop at this point. It seemed like the two of them would just keep working each other up as long as they could. Nothing you said so far had kept them from being mad. Thankfully, the greeting card angel, Mom walked into the room. Lizzie rushed over to her, hanging onto the hem of her shirt, poking her tongue out. Cove. Lizzie, Richie, it's time to get ready to go.
You alright with that?
Sorry you have to leave already, Cove. Their mommy said she'll walk you home so you don't have to be left in the cold. Cove was still glaring at Lizzie, his face flushed red with anger. I can go by myself. But Bye, Richie. There was still a harsh edge to the brief farewell, but you knew it wasn't you he was mad at. Without giving Mom a chance to stop him, Cove stood up and stalked out of the room, shoulders drawn tight.
Huh?
Okay. Worried, Mom turned to look down at you and Lizzie. You two were playing nice with our new friend, weren't you? You lied. You told the truth. Might as well tell the truth. We were playing pretend and things kinda got intense. They were like cats and dogs. Your sister's jaw dropped, looking betrayed as Mom put both hands on her hips. Elizabeth! I told you to be kind to him. He's having a hard time right now. Lizzie's mouth closed back up, replacing the tiny frown. I know, I tried, but he was...
That's enough.
No buts. We both know you can show someone a great time when you put your mind to it. We're going to apologize to Cove and his dad over the phone when he gets home from work tonight. Blech, I can't read today. Lizzie hung her head, dragging her foot across the ground in front of her. Okay, Mom. Good girl. You caught pieces of Lizzie sulking to herself about how it was his fault too, but it was over. Ah, right, we better get a move on.
Let's go.
Let's go, kids. Nolani? Where did you leave the car keys? Mom hustled you all out the door. You noticed during the car ride to golf practice that Lizzie was quieter than usual. She was usually the first one to request which music to listen to in the car, but she didn't say a thing. Your parents noticed that she wasn't in the mood to be bothered. They gave her space, and Mommy just asked you what you'd like to listen to. You picked your favorite song. It always made the car ride more fun. You chose a soundtrack to a cool movie you saw a couple months ago. You chose a song you knew Lizzie liked. Maybe that would cheer her up. You know what? Let's get on our sister's good side. It's always just be nice to everybody, you know? You were happy to see it brighten her up right away, and she started singing along with you. Soon enough, her bad mood was a thing of the past. Aww. When the car ride is over, you spent the twilight hour watching Lizzie hit things with other girls her age. You didn't know much about golf, but you could tell that she really liked it, so you sat with your moms and tried to puzzle it out. It was nice sitting outside after being cooped up in the house all day, and you stretched out your legs to let the last few minutes of the sun warm on your skin. The sun was finally out of sight, dipping behind the horizon. You all got ready to leave. Instead of going straight home, your mom took the family out to dinner. You went to a restaurant you all had been going to ever since you remember. The whole afternoon had been a bunch of shouting that you hadn't been able to stop, but you could kind of tell that this helped Lizzie be less angry. The car ride home was quiet, with only the radio providing escape from the silence. Lizzie had been in better spirits now, but the closer you got to your neighborhood, the more she wiggled in her seat and frowned out the window. She knew what was coming when you all got back home. Clearly she was dreading it. Soon enough, Mom was turning onto your street, then reversing into the driveway. Once she cut the ignition, it was dead silent. No one spoke. Only unbuckled their seatbelts, opened their doors. Lizzie was the last one out. Once everyone was inside, done taking off their shoes, she popped her hands on her hips.
So?
Now then, Mr. Holden's car is in his driveway, so he should be back from work. That's good news, isn't it, Elizabeth? You and Cove can hash things out before the day's done. Lizzie didn't complain or put up a fight. Her head ducked so she didn't have to meet anyone's eyes. She nodded once. Good. Let's move this to the kitchen. Mom went over to the house phone, and the rest of you following behind her. Molly put a gentle hand on Lizzie's shoulder as they walked side by side. You watched them from the back. This was only happening because you told on Lizzie. You didn't regret it. You felt a little guilty, like you had betrayed your sister. You hadn't liked doing it, but had to. But it was her fault for doing it in the first place. the bottom one is kind of true, but I kind of had to do it. I didn't like to, but I had to. Being whoops. Can I go back? Oh. Being a tattletale didn't feel good, and you wouldn't want someone else to tell your moms everything you did. Still, your mom had asked directly, and you wanted to be a liar even less. The four of you stood around the kitchen in a lopsided square. All eyes were on Lizzie, who kept her gaze to her feet. You remember the number for Cove's house, don't you, honey? Lizzie jerked her head with another nod, sullen. Without further prompting, she kept forward and began to dial. That's actually a pretty fancy phone. Mom reached over and pressed the button on the base. So suddenly, you could hear the phone ringing. She turned on the speaker. The phone rang a couple of times and stopped. It stopped. Mr. Holden's warm voice came through the other end. Evening, Holden residence. Lizzie looked over at Mommy, unsure. She nodded encouragingly. Hi, Mr. Holden. It's Lizzie. Can I talk to Cove?
Absolutely.
Lizzie James? What a surprise! But of course you can say hey to the boy. He sounded cheery as usual, though definitely meant it when he said it was a surprise. You thought hard, and you were sure that your sister had never called Cove's house before. Mom spoke up before Mr. Holden or Lizzie could say anything more. Her arms were crossed over her chest, her lips pursed. Hi, Cliff. Nolani, Richie, and I are here too. Good evening. We're sorry to bother you so late. You spoke up to say hello too. You said nothing to Cove's dad. Just say hello. Hi, Mr. Holden. The gang's all here, huh? Is something the matter? His voice grew a bit concerned. Mommy was quick to reassure him. No, well, yes, but it's going to be okay. Lizzie and Cove got in a bit of a fight today, but we were hoping that the two of them could talk and make up. Is this a good time for you and Cove?
What?
A fight? Cove didn't tell me anything about that when I came home. It does explain the funk he's been in tonight. He chuckled lightly. Despite that, it didn't seem like he really thought it was funny. Anyway, it's good you didn't catch us at a bad time. I'll go grab him for you. There was some shuffling on the other end, but he must not have gone far because you could still hear him calling out. Cove, there's someone on the phone for you. After a beat of silence, there was more muffled talking from Cove's dad. Mom, bud, Lizzie called so she could talk to you.
Are you sure?
Richie's on the other end listening too. Don't you want to say hi? It took a bit back and forth, though the conversation seemed one-sided since you couldn't hear Cove properly. Eventually Cove took the phone from his dad.
Hi.
Hello? Hey, it's Lizzie. Yeah, I know. Dad told me. Cove's tone was defensive. Lizzie turned to Mom, scowling. With one stern look from her, though, and Lizzie turned away.
Sorry.
I just called to say I'm sorry for not playing nice with you today. I won't do it again. Lizzie's eyes were downcast, her voice low. You could tell she felt uncomfortable apologizing to Cove in front of everyone. She was still being genuine about feeling bad. Cove must have realized that too because he sighed quietly. I want gold, and I think Richie should win too. Really? You thought you were worth gold even though you hadn't even wanted it? Lizzie was momentarily stunned, silent by the demand. She probably forgot that had even happened already. Alright, we all win the gold. Okay, I guess I'm sorry too. A sense of relief washed over everyone as acceptance of the apology. Mom uncrossed her arms while Mommy's shoulders relaxed. Lizzie's eyebrows raised up. You wondered if she thought that he'd refused her apology. Dad, can I get off the phone now? You couldn't see him, but it was obvious that Cove felt awkward about the situation. He'd had come off uncomfortable the entire time, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go back to your room if you want. Be sure to say goodbye first, though. Bye, Lizzie. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Richie. You perked up at the mention of your name. You smiled, even if he couldn't see it. Bye, Cove. With that said, Cove must have handed the phone over to his dad and left since Mr. Holden spoke up.
That's a relief.
All's well that ends well, as they say. Thanks for arranging this. I'm sure he appreciates it. As Mom replied, Lizzie tugged on Mommy's hand to catch her attention. Can I go now, too?
Good job.
Sure, sweetie. Thank you so much for apologizing to Cove. Mom flashed a brief smile at Lizzie and nodded her agreement. Given permission to leave, Lizzie scurried off towards the stairs. She seemed to be feeling much better with the incident behind her. Mom and Mommy returned to the phone, taking it off the speaker. They continued talking to Mr. Holden. You couldn't tell what about. You were glad that was the end of it all. Lizzie and Cove might not get along, and probably still won't, but they weren't mad at each other anymore. Mom and Mommy weren't upset either. Everything was finally back to normal. With that thought, you retreated to your room with a spring in your step. Oh, that was adorable. That was actually kind of cute. And oh my god, wow, I've already been recording for like 46 minutes. My god. 2 memories took up that much time? Damn. Well, I think I'll leave this episode here for now, and we'll try to see the other 3 memories in the next episode. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment what you think, share this video with your friends, and be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss a single notification. I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye.
You say you wanna try, but you never